G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Asshole? With that said, let's get right into it. Am I the asshole for calling out my stepdad for being a hypocrite at my sister's birthday? I, 22 female, am my mum's, 39, oldest child. She met my stepdad when she was 19 and he was 27. They were married a year later and went on to have my siblings, N, who's 18, A, who is 17, and T, who is 15. It's not a secret that I don't like my stepdad. My mum was a vulnerable teenager when she met him, and he was a grown man. He made her quit school and become a housewife, all while isolating her from her family. I left at 18 because I couldn't stand seeing him with her. I hate how he talks to her, and how he's treated her their entire relationship. I visit when he's working so I don't have to see him, but still get to see my family, so the dislike I have for him is obvious. My sister T had a birthday dinner a few days ago, and she really wanted me and my girlfriend to be there. So despite my dislike for my stepdad, I went because I want my little sister to be happy. At the dinner, somehow the fact that my girlfriend is 24 was mentioned, and my stepdad made a face before asking her, "You don't think it's appropriate to date someone who can hardly legally drink?" And I think all the years of quiet resentment just bubbled over because I didn't even think about it before I asked him if he developed those morals before or after he started dating a vulnerable teenage mum when he was nearly 30. He got really red in the face, and my mum very quickly changed the subject. The next morning, I got a text from my mum saying that my stepdad doesn't want me coming over to the house anymore, even when he isn't there. Apparently, he made that announcement to my siblings too, and since then, both of my sisters have started giving him the silent treatment. My brother texted me saying that he agrees with me, and he wishes that our mum would leave his dad too, but I shouldn't have done that at T's birthday dinner. My girlfriend agrees with my brother, but I talked to T, and as far as she's concerned, nothing I said was inaccurate, and she thinks that her dad should have kept his mouth shut if he didn't want me calling him out. The whole extended family found out about it though, so now my stepdad's mum is accusing me of lashing out at him because my mother never married my father, so they think I'm just jealous apparently. The whole thing is an absolute mess, and I'm being called an asshole for ruining my sister's birthday dinner. So am I? Now in the comments, in Dutch, we say, he got a cookie made from his own dough. Not the asshole at all, no lies were told. I applaud you for that amazing comment. He calls you out, but surprised Pikachu faces when he gets called out. He's a hypocrite. Not the asshole. Is your family mad because they found out what actually happened? Or because stepdad told them his version? Because yeah, he's literally guilty of what he's preaching. I'd make sure they're not just being fed an altered version of real events. Stand your ground. Not the asshole. What a prick. You have been legally able to drink for over a year, and your girlfriend is a whopping 2 years older than you. You are both college grads and in similar stages of life. He preyed on a teenager. You rock for putting him in his place. He won't speak to you that way ever again. That's the part that kills me. OP and her girlfriend are 2 damn years apart. 2. And a guy who married a teenager when he was pushing 30 decides to go there? Dude, no, not the asshole. Who is he to pass judgment on your relationship? Also, how is it that he can say whether or not you can come to the house when he isn't there? It's your mum's house too. He sounds controlling. OP says, he is very controlling, and he pretty much thinks of my mother as belonging to him. So if he says something, then she must agree. He doesn't like me very much, probably because I've always encouraged my mother to speak up for herself. So judgmental comments from him aren't really surprising given how he usually speaks to me. And now to an update of sorts, we have a post by OP's mother titled, "Am I the asshole for not correcting my daughter?" I'm 39, and I had my first child when I was 17. She's now 22. And I met my husband about 2 years later when he was 27 and I was 19. We've been together for 20 years now, and I've had 3 more beautiful children. My 22-year-old loves her siblings. She's the best sister in the world. She dotes on them, helps them pay for extra expenses when my husband and I don't have any extra dollars to spare, and sees them as often as possible. She's an incredible daughter too. Smart, kind, and all around just a sweet girl. The problem is, she has never gotten along with my husband, not even when she was little. I thought at first that she was young and adjusting to change, but throughout her life and my marriage, she hasn't wavered on her dislike for him. She's said that she doesn't like how he treats me and speaks to me. I try my best to keep the peace, but a few days ago I think I fell short in that. My youngest just turned 15, and to celebrate, we had dinner at her favorite restaurant. My eldest usually avoids gatherings with my husband, but my 15-year-old really wanted her there, so she acquiesced and came with her girlfriend. At dinner, my husband made a sly comment about the 2-year age difference between my daughter and her girlfriend. My daughter responded by mentioning the age difference between him and I. She phrased it in a way that made it clear that she views age differences as wrong, and that she thinks my husband took advantage of my vulnerability. I changed the subject. When we got home after dinner and the kids were in bed, my husband began yelling at me for not defending him against my daughter. It was obvious that our other children didn't disagree with her statement, and that seemed to make him angrier. He said that because I never corrected my daughter in the past about her dislike for him, it's my fault that she hates him now. He also feels that this hate has caused our other children to hate him too. I have a feeling that our 18-year-old son heard the argument because he came into our room at the height of it, pretending that he needed something. The next day, my husband told the kids and I that my oldest will no longer be allowed in the home, and as a result, my other daughters aren't speaking to him, and my son has been very short with him. This hasn't helped to soothe his anger in the slightest, and I'm not sure what to do. I don't think it would have been fair for me to force my daughter to like him, and I believe that she is free to feel however she wants. She's always been respectful and polite to him, but my husband told his family what happened at dinner, and now they all think that my eldest is acting out of jealousy and resentment. My mother-in-law thinks that I should have tried harder to help my daughter and husband get along when she was young, and that this conflict is my fault now. Did I cause this? And now in the comments, not the asshole. You do realize that your son came into your bedroom to protect you from your abusive husband, right? And I doubt that it's the first time. Your kids don't like your husband because they watch how he treats you. Not the asshole, and I don't want to overstep or make inaccurate assumptions here, but your husband is giving off major red flags as a domestic abuser here, and even if he's never physically harmed you, he can still be abusing you. He made a snide comment about a 2-year age difference to your eldest, whom he really doesn't share a great bond with. Then he has the audacity to get upset when she rightfully brings up his hypocrisy? If I'm wrong, I apologize, but it seems, just based on your post here, that you spend a lot of time walking on eggshells around him. I hope I'm wrong, but if I'm not, I hope that you know that you deserve so much better than that. You are the problem, you're the asshole. How can you be unsure of what to do when your husband created a problem by making a nasty comment and then threw a tantrum when your daughter, not you, stood up for herself and has now banned your daughter from visiting? You've allowed your husband to scapegoat your daughter. He is blaming her for the problems in the family, and like I'm guessing you've done countless times before, you have refused to draw a line and have enabled him to escalate the situation and say even more awful things about your daughter. Your detailed description of this one situation is very telling because I bet you've behaved this way, bending over backwards to cater to your husband and throwing your daughter under the bus for your daughter's entire life. Your daughter would have been 2, right, when your husband came into her life? A kid that age naturally loves parental figures. She was not nearly old enough to resent a newcomer. If she hates him, it's for a reason. It is your job as your daughter's biological relative to fix problems with the stepfather, and you clearly have not done that. When it became clear that the problems weren't going away and that he picks on her, you should have left him. At what point are you going to do something about his toxic role in your family and in your daughter's life? If you truly don't understand how to stand up to him, you need to visit a counselor and get advice. And now on to the final update. Okay, clearly a lot has happened, so I'm just going to try to summarize what I can. I really don't want to go into a lot of details about this, mainly because I feel like a lot of this is a bit too much info to share on the internet. I originally just wanted to know if I had effed up at a birthday party, and now it has turned into so much more. My brother, my middle sister, and I all use Reddit. It's why I made this account. I didn't want them to find the last post, but my brother did end up seeing it shortly after I made it, and he sent it to my middle sister, who then amped up on dropping comments to our mum about checking Reddit out for herself. She said she was hoping mum would see the post and get a dose of reality from my point of view in the comments, or even just stumble upon a relationship/advice forum and find clarity there. Mum's not big on social media, but she's wanted to get into it a bit, so I guess that my sister thought that this was a good time to encourage her. Long story short is that my mum made a post about a day-ish after I did, and she found my post because people pointed out the similarities and someone linked it. Someone else also sent her post to me. My mum and I did sit down and talk like many of you suggested. She is fine, and my siblings are okay. My siblings and I have expressed how we feel about my stepdad/their dad, but obviously we can't do anything for our mum unless she is willing to do it herself. I will always have space for my family in my home, and I've sent money to my mum to help out with the kids before, so it's not like I'm unable to provide her with some financial assistance to get away if she needed it. I do talk to my mum's sister, and she knows about the situation too, because I've pretty much vented to her about it my entire childhood, so I gave my mum her number just in case. The bottom line is that my mum is not planning on divorcing and leaving her husband, though we all wish that she would change her mind. I do want to thank all of you who were kind and offered genuine advice. I'm hoping that a few years from now my mom will get away from him and she and I can laugh at the fact that we accidentally cross-posted different POVs at the birthday dinner that led to her leaving a shitty marriage. Like I said, I don't want to say too much else for privacy reasons. I originally just expected a few opinions, but this got way bigger than that, and I'm way too uncomfortable with an audience, so I probably won't be back with any other major updates. I'm just going to focus on my siblings and leave the door open for my mum if and when she accepts it. And now in the comments, oof. OP's mum has been conditioned to accept his obvious abuse as normal. Hopefully she'll come around once all 3 of his kids dip and go low contact or no contact when they're all of age. Good for OP for standing up for her mum, because it doesn't seem like anyone else in the family was going to first. This is only concluded where Reddit is concerned, because she said no more updates. The stepdad in this story isn't going to let this slight on his manliness go. Pro tip to losers, don't antagonize the people who pay your bills. I wonder why the mum didn't have her own sister's phone number. Well, that's because her husband won't allow it. OP mentioned in the first post that stepdad isolated mum from her family, so that's probably why mum doesn't have her own sister's number. Ah, I see that. It's good that OP got in contact with them again. Our next post is titled, "Today I messed up by hospitalizing my 9-year-old brother." I'm typing this out from the waiting room. I feel so guilty, and my mum won't even look me in the eye. Today, my 17 male brother, 9 male, wanted to play on my Xbox in my room, which I reluctantly said yes to. But since we moved in last week, my room, which is small anyway, is still mostly full of boxes, so there really isn't much room to move at all. He was sitting on the floor playing Minecraft, and I was sat on my bed doing a Superman puzzle when my mum called me into the kitchen to help her reach something. This is when I screwed up. So as I said, there isn't much space in my room, especially at the end of the bed where the TV is right next to my door. And as I tried to squeeze past to leave to go to my mum in the kitchen, I accidentally bumped into the TV stand and the worst thing possible happened. The TV fell onto my brother. He started screaming, and everything up until now was one big blur. My mum came running in, shouting, asking what happened, and calling for my dad, while I just stood there, watching it all happen from outside my room. It was like I was frozen. My mum screamed at my dad to phone an ambulance, but I couldn't see my brother, so I took a step forward and saw that his head was bleeding, and at this point, I was really panicking. My dad told me to go downstairs and let anyone who knocks on the door inside, so I did. I waited by the door, and a few minutes later, paramedics knocked on the door, so I let them in. My mum went into the ambulance with him, while my dad and I followed in a car. We got there about 15 minutes after my mum did, and I heard her tell my dad that my brother will be okay, but she still refuses to speak to me, even after I asked her what's going on with my brother. And I haven't heard anything from a doctor yet, and it's been about half an hour now. Sorry if this is difficult to read. I just feel so guilty and anxious for hurting my brother. And now in the comments, to be honest, him screaming was a good sign. Silence is worse. Accidents happen. I will echo this. Screaming is always better. Silence is bad, especially in children. I'll take a screaming child over a quiet one any day of the week. That was one of the first things our pediatrician said when we had kids. Crying and screaming is a good sign if they get hurt. It's still traumatic and horrible, but it's far better than silent, limp, and ghost pale. A TV fell on my head when I was like 8 or so in the middle of the night. My grandpa, who reported to the scene first, said that he wished I would have cried, but instead, all I did was make a crying face with no noise coming out of my mouth, blood streaming down my face. He said that if he were just a little bit more tired, he would have decked me, because for a split second, he thought that I was a demon. Complete and total accident. I know you're feeling terrible, and your mom is just processing everything, but this could have been a lot worse. You did nothing wrong, OP. And to be perfectly clear, if for whatever reason your mum doesn't process things well, remember that this was an accident, and there likely was little you could have done to prevent it. No matter what you or anyone else tries to argue about how much you could have done things differently, at the end of the day, it was unintentional, and you're having a normal emotional response to the event. Yes, OP, you didn't F up. It was an accident. Crap happens. If your mum genuinely blames you for bumping into a TV stand, that's something for her to confront. It's not like you pushed the damn thing on top of him. Me and my little brother were playing tag when we were 9 and 7. I pushed him a little hard, and we went to the hospital, and he had to get like 12 stitches in his mouth. I'm pretty sure my mum yelled at me and disciplined me, but he was thankfully fine other than his mouth hurting a bit. What I'm trying to say is, you make mistakes. Accidents happen. You shouldn't feel guilty about it. There was no malicious intent. And now on to the update. My dad and I are home now. My brother is going to be fine, but possibly staying overnight at the hospital just to be safe, and my mum is going to stay with him. My dad has told me that my mum's not angry, she was just scared for my brother, and I've spoken to her on the phone. It's all good. I've tidied up my room and moved the TV so it's safe now, and I bought some snacks for him when he gets back. Thanks everyone for the kind words, and I'll update when he's home again. Update 2, he's home. My brother is going to be absolutely fine. I gave him some of the snacks and loads of hugs. He's doing great. Here are some details that I've seen people ask about in the comments. Yes, the TV still works, miraculously, as it landed on carpet. The TV was just a small flat screen. I don't know the right terminology for it, but it's really tiny, as I don't have the space for a bigger one. The reason my brother's head was bleeding was because the plastic in the corner of the TV is what hit his head, which I think scraped his head, leaving a small cut. Seeing blood, even a small amount, made everyone panic, which is why he went to the hospital and my mum gave me the silent treatment. It was scary. And now in the comments, Big Brother is a good guy, and while I don't blame anyone for freaking out, head cuts tend to bleed more than they're worth. One tiny cut can make the place look like a haunted house room. Poor kids. Clearly an accident, and I hope both of them are feeling better. Everyone here did the best they could. Big Brother was kind to Little Brother and shared his stuff. Big Brother tried to go help Mum when called for, parents gave good instructions, Mum had a panic shutdown, which was unkind, but also quite understandable. Apologies were made, and Little Brother is okay. How refreshing. It's hard to confront how we react in the worst moments. It's a shame that he took his mum's freeze personally. Our next post is titled, My boss just asked me not to wear my normal pants to work, and I have never been angrier. I wear normal pants to work. Our dress code is business casual, and I've gotten myself sized by a reputable tailor. All my slacks and chinos are from normal brands that you'd find at Macy's and a normal/relaxed fit. However, yesterday, my boss called me into her office and told me that I would no longer be allowed to wear the pants that I normally wear to the office and would have to wear something less revealing. Apparently, my bulge is inappropriate in the workplace. I have a normally sized penis. I actually freaking measured it to make sure that I wasn't crazy, and I'm pretty close to the US average. Would a woman with large breasts be told that she can't wear anything but baggy clothes? Would she be told by her boss that she must wear nothing but restrictive sports bras to work? I doubt it, especially in my workplace where women 2 seats down from me wear far more provocative clothing than my damn slacks. I asked her, what should I wear instead? These are my size. And she said, just go buy something looser or get a bigger size. I am not rebuying my entire collection of work pants. Go ahead and report me to HR. Let's see them try and fire me for having too much dick. And edit, to clarify, I'm aware that women have been told to cover up quite a bit in the workplace. I'm not dismissing that. I'm just highlighting the very visible double standard of bodily expression in my own workplace. Edit 2, people have been asking to see my pants. Here are the exact pants that I wore on the day of the incident. Note that my member is sitting to the right of the zipper, relative to the viewer. And now in the comments, I would be concerned that someone stared at my crotch enough to notice that. OP says, I am too. I am in a long-term relationship and planning to propose early next year, so I can't afford financial or emotional turbulence right now. She didn't say who exactly brought this concern to her, so as far as I know, it could have been anyone in the office. Send an email to HR and your boss and her boss and ask for a mediator for your continued discussion between your boss and you about the size of your penis in your work pants, as you don't feel comfortable discussing it privately with her. And edit, as others have pointed out, it would be best to get documentation of the event in some way prior to doing this. This is sexual harassment, full stop. You need to talk to HR. If they do nothing, talk to a lawyer. And OP says, I will, but I want to go once I have her demands in writing. My case will be much stronger. Try and get most interactions in an email. If you meet in person, send them an email basically stating what you spoke about and asking them if that is correct. Some sort of written acknowledgement is way more substantial than anything verbal. Good luck. Former HR manager here. At this time, it is workplace harassment, improper addressing of a personal concern of upper management without another individual or third party in the room, in addition to making an employee uncomfortable on company time. There is nothing said that it was brought to this boss's attention or if it was her own conclusion regarding their apparel. Either way, it was mishandled. Any statement that makes any employee reasonably uncomfortable can be viewed as harassment. Sexual harassment is completely different and falls under a broader umbrella. Take great notes, create a timeline, and screenshot any and all emails and documentation, and never quit your job. In the meantime, and on your own time and phone, contact a workers' rights attorney, a damn good one. And OP says, thanks. I'll take that all into account. And now on to the update. My boss demanded that I replace all my pants, and then told me that she needed to supervise me while I got the replacements. She is now on administrative leave. To recap what advice I got from my original thread, here it is. Go talk to HR, never talk to HR. Go talk to a lawyer, lawyers will waste your time. Your pants are fine, you need new pants. She wants to bang you, she hates you. After dwelling a little bit on my options, I settled for a middle-of-the-road approach. I contacted 2 well-known lawyers in my area, and I got a consultation from them about my situation. They both thought that I was sexually harassed. The case wasn't bulletproof, as there was little evidence and no pattern of abuse. They then also warned me about going to HR without any evidence, as it can cascade into me losing my job in unexpected ways. Fine. Since I needed evidence and a pattern of abuse, I first wanted to read up on what standards my company has set for managers when it comes to dealing with sexual harassment. I requested from our online learning catalogs to take the sexual harassment and tough conversations courses that are normally required only for managers. In the Tough Conversations module, there was a scenario where a male supervisor needed to ask a female employee to correct her outfit as it did not meet the company's dress code. The module, in plain English, states that the supervisor is not to intervene and to refer the issue to HR. I assumed that the inverse, a female supervisor reprimanding a male's outfit, would follow the same standards. I then sent an email to my boss asking her to follow up on our previous conversation. I wrote, "To boss, I want to clarify some things regarding our previous conversation. Please confirm whether or not my understanding of your statement is correct. My pants violated our dress code by being too tight and revealing my bulge. The issue pertains to all my pants, not a specific subset of my wardrobe. This is a requirement from management and not a request. Please get back to me. Sincerely, OP." It took over a full workday, but the response I got was, "To OP. Yes, I did tell you to fix your wardrobe. This is not a request. Boss." So I immediately replied, "To boss. If management is demanding that I replace such a large amount of work clothing, it must be done at the expense of company. Please let me know if this is possible, as we will have to work something else out if it isn't. Sincerely, OP." And her response later was, "OP, this can be done, but I must be with you to supervise your shopping. Check my schedule for my availability." Good lord. Suddenly, the "she wants to bang you" theories seemed less crazy. I backed up the emails to a personal account and I sent everything to HR. Less than 2 hours later, I received a phone call asking me to come to HR immediately and drop my work unless it was time critical. I complied. I was told that they were taking this matter very seriously and that I should take the rest of the day off. I came back to work today and boss is gone. I was told right before lunch that she had been placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation and that I shouldn't worry. It's against company policy to engage in any form of professional retaliation. I sit here now like a king on a porcelain throne, telling you about my victory during my post-lunch dump. Bye bye, boss lady. And now in the comments, supervise your shopping? What the hell? I think the company wouldn't have given an F, but she shot herself in the foot by saying the company could cover your new bulgeless wardrobe. Yeah, which basically means you will try on the new pants and I will stare at your crotch to make sure that I can't see your wiener. Yeah. Bye bye, lady. We'll need to start at maximum tightness and work our way down. The boss was not only stupid enough to try to pull this in the first place, but stupid enough to put it in writing on company email. Aside from the blatant harassment, they shouldn't be a boss just for being effing stupid. Very, very dumb. You had a meeting with your employee where you corrected something verbally, and then the employee writes an email to get that correction in writing. Anybody with any sense or experience would realize the employee was creating a paper trail. The request for something in writing is a classic see ya move. Anyone with a brain would smell a rat immediately. Thank God most bigots aren't that smart. To be fair, it can be legitimate on both ends. For example, boss tells you to do something you think is dumb/bad, but it's not unethical, immoral, illegal, or anything which would justify insubordination. So you get it in writing so you have see ya materials for if and when it blows up. And that's where I'm going to leave today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.